5:30 hour, so I will go ahead and I will call the September 24th, 2024 council meeting to order, and I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers.
Here.
Dr. Lee.
Here.
Mrs. Walden.
Here.
Ms. Shinholster.
Here.
Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Ms. Mapp.
And I do understand it's Ms. Mapp by Zoom tonight.
She is.
She is.
I forgot to hook her up. I got this other. I'm gonna put her on. I'm gonna put her on the phone.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just go ahead with the rest of the meeting. Okay. We do have a quorum present at this time. If you will, please stand with me for the prayer and pledge. Eternal Father God, we pause tonight to praise you for life and health and strength. Thank you for another day to engage in making your kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Father, we strengthen our roles as leaders for this community, and we thank you for the opportunity to continue to engage with your voters. We are thankful because we stand because of the people that use their voices to select each and every one of us on this political forum. So let us hold true to our duties and be a part of the solution to resolve inequality, injustice, and diversity. I pray for all levels of government, from the local to the federal, that we create and leave a more perfect union for all residents, for their safety, for their welfare, and their peace. Not just only Milledgeville, Baldwin County, but all counties. I pray for our school superintendents, our school presidents, students, and children as they go to and from school. Keep them safe and shield them from hurt, harm, and danger. This is your servant's prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, Miss Mapp has joined us on the phone.
Okay, so we do have Ms. Mapp on the phone listening in. All right. Do we have anyone for public comments tonight? Okay, great. So we don't have any public comments tonight, but I did share via my Facebook page, because I have a lot of followers, that we do have this meeting every second and fourth Tuesdays at 5:30. If they can't come join us in person, please watch it and learn more about what's going on in your city. You all have received a copy of the September 6, 2024 Call Council Work Session Minutes. Are there any corrections that need to be made? All right, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion and a second. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers.
Aye.
Dr. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Ms. Mapp.
Okay, the motion carries and the minutes are adopted. You have also received a copy of the September 10th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes. Are there any corrections that need to be made? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I will ask Madam Clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers.
Aye.
Dr. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Ms. Mapp.
The motion carries and the minutes are adopted. Under the mayor's comments tonight, I have a few comments, but first and foremost, I want to recognize Georgia College and State University students, if there are any in attendance. Will you stand and tell us whose class you're from? Don't be shy. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us tonight, watching the process. Hope that you all learned something as you go along the way. What I would like to reiterate tonight, because I've been asked questions in reference to this, is as I have done on prior meetings, that the city council meetings are aired every second and fourth Tuesday nights at 5:30 p.m. Around 6:30, we're done between 6:30 and 7-ish. p.m. So it gives you a kind of time frame if you want to know how long the meetings last. At the beginning of the meeting, we do have what we call comments from our residents. Our residents are welcome to come up and give 3 minutes of comments of what they would like for us to know, or what they would like to see done in the city of Milledgeville, or whatever the topic is of that day that they want to talk about. Also, I'd like to remind those that are not aware of the type of government that the city of Milledgeville is governed by. We have a city manager, mayor, alderman form of government. I've been questioned about this a lot lately. So what does that mean? It means that the city manager, which is our CEO, our COO, he's the chief operating officer. He makes sure that the city runs efficiently and smoothly. He makes sure the funding is there for the people to run their departments, get the vehicles. However, what he does, a lot of what he does on his own, and he comes back to mayor and council if he have to expend over $50,000. Whatever the project may be, he comes back to mayor. But whatever he does, he does relay it to the mayor and the council of what's going on in the city of Milledgeville. When you look at the council, starting with the mayor, I'm what they call the chief elected official. That means I'm elected at large by everyone, all 18,899 residents. That means I'm at large over these. When you look at our district reps, they're at large over their districts. They're representing whatever their number of district people are. And I've said so many times, if you have problems, you may email them, you may call them. Their email numbers and their phone numbers are in the newspaper. You can always find it there. We are a very progressive council. Let me make that very, very clear. We believe in moving Milledgeville forward. We're not trying to be stagnated. We're trying to grow with the times. When I became the mayor, I shared with this council so many times that 20 and 75 was heading at us like a train off the track. It's here now. And so we're trying to form and regroup and make sure we're pushing forward with times and being progressive. We are a city, as I share with most people, they say, oh, you're a college town. No, we are a city with 2 major colleges in them that brings in a lot of revenue to this city. So we cater to them as well as to our residents. But we believe in the diversity that we have here. We try to share in, we try to make ourselves good neighbors with our students and within this city. So I wanted to share that with you all tonight because, as I stated, I've been asked about that, and for those that are watching tonight, they get to hear me say that from the platform, that we're very proud of the city. We're very proud of what we do here. We're very proud of the colleges. So oftentimes the city manager and I, we go off to our conventions, and we come back and we'll be like, and council, and we'll be like, Milledgeville should have won that award, you know. We didn't know why we weren't on the platform for it, but our city is just that diverse and growing just that much, and we're very, very proud of this community. As the mayor, I am very proud of this long-standing council who has worked hard to make it what it is right now, and yet we're still pushing forward to make it even better. So I think that's what I want. So Mr. Griffin, I think you and I will get together and talk about the committee a little bit more, because I know you had some concerns there, and I still have some concerns about putting some in place. So we'll get together and talk about that at a later time. I think that's all I have for tonight to bring up, so that, you know, I'm keeping my word. I brought that forward for those that are watching live tonight, to share with them. And if you have any other questions or concerns about how our government functions and flow, you're welcome to call up here and speak with the city manager. He can give you sound advice. You can speak with Ms. Melba Hilson-Butts. She can give you information. Or we have a wonderful city attorney that keeps us in line, Mr. Jimmy Jordan over there, sitting over there, that you see every second and fourth Tuesday night in his corner. So at this time, we have a presentation on the table from this evening. We have a presentation from Mr. Paul Simonton and Mr. Corey Johnson from Simonton Engineering. As you know, the city uses Simonton firm for many of the services necessary for civic and traffic engineering. They have been doing some feasible and pre-design work on a roundabout at Jefferson Street and Dunlap Road, as well as at Jefferson Street, Log Cabin Road, and Sinclair Road, Dam Road. Additionally, Paul coordinates the city's local maintenance improvement grant, or LMIG program, and they are here tonight to update on both of these areas. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours. You can go to the podium if you want to, sir, so you can be heard from the podium with a mic. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So Corey and I are going to work together. We're going to tag team a little bit here. He's gonna drive the computer a little bit while I talk, and I'm gonna drive it while he talks some, or I might let him drive it both times. So we were engaged to look at the intersection of North Jefferson Street and Dunlap Road, and as we're doing this, we have certain steps we go through to get there. Okay, there we go. And first thing we do is once the intersection and the project's identified, then we basically get traffic counts. We have a subcontractor that goes out, sets up cameras, and he counts all the cars going through the intersection and their movement at the intersection. And then we get that data, we put it in a spreadsheet. And then the next thing we do is basically we build a kind of a model of the intersection so that we can evaluate the performance of the intersection. And you're going to hear me talk about it's a Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, MUTCD, and basically that's a guide for if you're doing any engineering work on an intersection, whether DOT is involved or not. It provides you all the guidance, and it's a national standard, so to speak. So. And so once we get the model built, we know what the traffic is, we know where it's going, then we evaluate that intersection based on warrants that are established in MUTCD, and those are on your screen right now. And so what we do is we take those traffic counts, and the first warrant basically is for monitoring the traffic volume on both roadways during the peak 8 hours, any peak 8 hours. Then you go to the next warrant is you do the same thing for the peak 4 hours, and then you do it for just the peak hour. As we were going through and evaluating these, the rest of them is pedestrian volume. Really not a lot of pedestrians going on at Dunlap and North Jefferson. There's not a school in the area, so those don't. Coordinated signal system, there's not a signal there yet, so that one would not be. Crash experience, probably warrant number 7 was the most important evaluation factor for this intersection. The other part of it, how this intersection interacts with your roadway network, and then at grade crossing. This is another one that fell into the realm of problems at Dunlap and North Jefferson because of the steep grade and sight distance on Dunlap. So we went through an intersection evaluation, and then after reviewing the data, basically the only warrant that this intersection met was warrant number 7, was the crash experience. Now I'll tell you this, that when we were evaluating warrants 1, 2, and 3, what we do is we evaluate them for 100% of the traffic, and then also we do evaluate them for 70% of the traffic. 100% means a warrant would be justified like right away, right now. And DOT would say, okay, yeah, we want to permit, if this were a DOT route, we want to permit a signal here because it's warranted as a safety factor. Now there's a 70% factor. And DOT will not give you a signal permit for 70%. But what that means is if you've got any growth at all going on in your community, and the growth factor is, or the traffic is being increased annually or is on a factor, then what that does is basically puts up a little red flag that says, you don't want one now, but in your near future you're going to. So because this warranted under crash and it warranted under the 70% factor for 1, 2, and 3, this intersection is a really good candidate for improvements. Okay, we're going to show you some things here in a minute. The other thing we're going to talk about at the intersection is level of service. Okay, a level of service of an intersection basically is tied directly to delay. If you've got an intersection and people have to go there and sit for a long time, more than they think they should, then they get very nervous, they get very anxious, and they'll start pushing the limit, which leads to more crashes at the intersection. So level of service is very important. one of the considerations. Now, and as you'll hear Corey talk about level of service when he's going through his evaluation, keep in mind that level A is the best. Level A means your delay at that intersection very, very short, and it's not bothering anybody at all. And it goes from level A to level F. Level F is terrible. Level F is an intersection when you're sitting there and there's a stop sign up there, and you know, I've been sitting here 2 minutes already. By the way, 2 minutes at the stop sign.
Exactly.
And so when those delays get to be 2, 3 minutes, you know, your intersection is failing. So typically, what you want is you want all your intersections to be a level of service of C or better. Now, if we're doing an evaluation of an intersection, and we go through and we do our evaluations, and it's an A or B, then we feel like we're headed on the right track. If it's a C already, by the time we get it built, it'll be a D or an E. So we're always looking for an A. We'll settle for a B sometime, depending on your growth rates. But if it's a C already, then, you know, we really don't feel like that's a really good, valid solution for the intersection. The next step, after we go, so if we were doing this and we were going to go to DOT for some funding, which, you know, that's a real good possibility. Or if we were doing the DOT project, then once we get through with all the evaluation of the warrants, we have our traffic counts, we know what the delays are, then what we do then is we go to an intersection control evaluation, ICE study, is what DOT calls it. What that does is basically, we again build another model with all the traffic in there, and then we start calculating delays at the intersection. We put that in there. And then the spreadsheet they give you, then we'll go through and they'll say, okay, here's your data, here's the delays. And then what we also do is we look for conflict points in there. Anytime you have an intersection, especially stop sign or signalized, there's conflict points. Anybody's making a left turn through, and you know, if they've been there a while, they're going to push that yellow arrow, and they're going to wait for it to turn red, and they're going to turn red. And so what you do is you do those conflict points, identify them. And then it does the safety analysis. All right, and then what we do is there's data that we go and we pull. If you've got an intersection like this one, the stop intersection, where you have the conflict points, and it has a rating in the charts, and then you go say, okay, if I change this to a different one, then it'll give you an improvement percentage. Okay, and then we do that. So you go through and then you select from different alternatives in the guide, and it says, you know, if you do this one, then your conflict points are reduced by a certain amount, and your intersection percentage is reduced by a certain amount. And so we go through and we pick intersections to evaluate. In this case, what you're going to see Corey do is we've gone through and we've picked. Number one is we evaluated for an alt-way stop. If you had everybody come to the intersection and stop, we've evaluated that. We've done the traffic signal at the intersection, and then we've identified a roundabout. There was a couple other ones in there that really didn't work too much for the traffic patterns. You know, DOT says you're always supposed to do an arc cut, no matter what. You're supposed to have an arc cut in there which eliminates left turns. You know, if you go through and you eliminate left turns on the Dunlap at this point, it's not a good fit for what you got. So we did not include that. So now, what Corey's going to do is he's going to get things going on. He's going to switch programs here, so it'll take just a minute. And then what he'll do is he'll show you the first one he's going to show you is an intersection as it is right now. Now this is not real time. Okay, I had somebody stand up and say, "Well, I know there's not that many cars going through here right now. What? How did you do that?" It's not that. What we do is we have put all the traffic data in there. And then what this shows you is what's happening in college.
So I'm going to go ahead and play it right now. This is just a stop control on Dunlap. So this is the existing traffic in our design year. So you can see Greens are the left turns on Dunlap. And you can see a queue start to build up on those. So that's where I don't know if Paul mentioned it, but the level of service for this is an E. So no build as it is, that delay on that last vehicle is a while, so that's what gives us a level of service E there. This one, there we go. So that's our no build option. You can see North Jefferson pretty much stays consistent, but it's the Dunlap Q there.
Yeah, you see right now where everything's starting to back up there in
Yeah.
the greens. That everybody's starting to get anxious now because they're hitting that.
And we've all been there.
For a long time.
May not have been real time, but it was real speed, wasn't it?
I love it when everybody
It
says
looked
yes.
like it anyway, didn't it?
They do go that fast.
That's right. Absolutely.
So our next animation is for an all-way stop. This also produces a level of service E, but we ran it because it was one of the alternatives in our ICE evaluation. We eliminated this alternative because of the level of service, but it gives you an idea of what it would look like if you were to have an all-way stop. Let's pull it right here. All right. So as you can see, it's going to cause more of a queue on Jefferson, and Dunlap will be similar, but that does increase your safety because everybody's stopping. So that's what caused the level of service E, all these people getting backed up. Our next animation.
I got a
Yes, sir.
question here.
Yes, sir.
What's the rule of the road when you do something like that? Because you know, I can see
No,
just
they don't
a
know the
regular
rules of driving.
4-lane, 4-way stop, or you know that you have an intersection and people don't know when to go. They don't know when to let the other one go because he got there first or they got there first. I mean, this looks like kind of confusing.
Well, this would be very difficult because, like you say, if you look on the northbound, on the north side of the intersection, it's 2 coming in, 1 going out. On the south side, there's 2 in, 2 out. So you're right, for the stop control right there, you'd almost have to make the left turn open to make that work.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
but then still you get into a very confusing. That's why this intersection is rated so bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't take us long to throw this one out.
Sure.
I'm glad.
So this is a, let's see, there we go. This is the signal. Zoom in there.
And this one, you can see what the traffic signal is doing in the corners. So like right now, you've got a green on the south side of the intersection.
So this does provide a level of service B during the AM and the PM. So this was the second rated alternative due to crashes, safety analysis, project cost, and the intersection delay. So those are the 3 main factors in that ICE study. And the final highest rated alternative, I don't know why this keeps.
So
Yeah.
let's just go so.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes ago, you could see them really backing up on the south side of the intersection with the through traffic. Yeah, for just a second ago, it was like going all the way off the screen with the whites going through from the south. Yeah, and then you see the left now, they're starting to back up there too.
I can see that traffic signal being like the Kentucky Derby holding the horses back.
It's a good analogy.
But even with the signal, you can see it stacking up on Dunlap.
Yes, yeah. And if you looked right there just a minute ago, there was left turns that stacked up about 5 deep. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and it does the same thing on through
Just
traffic.
empties them out. I can't, for some some reason this one keeps going out.
Oh,
This is the roundabout, which provides a level of service A and B depending on time of day. There we go. So obviously it's a three-way. But the big thing is it keeps people moving. I could just, there we go. So yellows are right turns, greens are left turns, and whites are through traffic.
We're not sure why that circle's not a circle.
Yeah, it's, for some reason it's a whole light.
But yeah, what,
right-of-way acquisition was a problem.
that could be. So you can see it keeps everybody moving, and it is stacking up a little back on them, but it keeps them going, so that it eliminates that sitting still. And then the other thing too, there are no conflict points in a roundabout.
As long as you may not be able to keep up with your movement.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
That'd be cool.
It's on all of them.
Oh, really? Oh,
So you would funnel the two lanes, the two northbound lanes, you would funnel that down to one lane?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, so, and in some cases, what we would do, but in this case, there is the opportunity to make that right turn a run around, basically, so that they stay, it's just a loop around and out. What you would have to do is you would have to make improvements on the other side, so that if somebody came through and said, oops, I meant to go through, they'd be able to get back in there. But in your case, you know, in looking at the constructability of it, there's a pretty good fall off on the right side, opposite of Dunlap. So I think in this case, you don't have enough traffic to warrant trying to do something like that. Any more questions about the animation? We're going to go back to the slide if everybody's okay. Okay, great. Okay, so this is the round. Go ahead, Corey.
yeah. So this is the concept of a single lane roundabout at North Jefferson and Dunlap Road. It has a inscribed circular diameter of 120 feet, so that would be considered a standard single lane roundabout. That just shows kind of how there would be a little bit of right-of-way acquisition in that southwestern corner and this northwestern corner. But this is just a concept, and it shows kind of we'd have a concrete truck apron in there. You'd have your islands, and then we'd have to do some restriping to funnel those down, like we talked about.
And Mr. Chambers, you can see there where we're tapering in the
Yeah.
inside lane to push everybody to the outside. Yeah.
I like that, and I like the way it sits, because I mean, everybody's kind of pictured it going further east, but yet you pulled it back.
Yeah, so usually, and you know, that the outside of those approach lanes is what basically controls what we want to do. And then, you know, it also allows us, what we try to do is, as you're approaching the roundabout, we try to make you swerve just a little bit. It's a slow down factor. Okay, because that way if you do that, and if people can see straight through without any turns, they'll go faster. So if we approach it and put a little bit of a swerve out in it, then that slows them down a little bit before they hit the roundabout. Now, the good part about this too is the steep slope coming in from Dunlap takes it out of the picture, because there is no sight distance issue, and then as we're coming in, we'll put a wiggle in that one for sure, so that we're slowing them down as they're coming down the hill.
So it appears from there that nothing will have to happen on the east side of that intersection. Is that right?
That's pretty close. Now, you know, we hadn't run all the topo and everything, but yeah, we're pretty much hitting where the guardrail is. You know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is within the existing guardrail. We'd have to move it out just a little bit. So now, we do know that there'll have to be some drainage improvements in there, and we don't know about utilities yet. So, but we are avoiding most of the above ground. We have, I think,
Power pole.
yeah, and maybe a telephone festival or two, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
And in
from-
the initial meeting, for you all's information, in the initial meeting with Paul and Corey that Tim and I had, there's actually a cross drain there we were looking to replace it anyway that goes under Dunlap, so that could be done at the
Be
same
part of
time.
the project.
And this next concept just would show like we would do for the signal concept, mast arm pole signal poles for each of them. And then there would be some restriping at the intersection. This is a pre-design opinion of costs. It gives us an idea of, with a few placeholders for the grading, drainage modifications, and utility relocation and modifications.
When he says placeholder, he means we don't really know what that's gonna cost yet. We know there will be a cost. So we've just kind of plugged the typical number in it at this point, just so for comparison. We know that on the traffic control for a roundabout is gonna be more expensive than traffic control for a signal installation.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have put values into each so that we can kind of give you an idea of comparison of what we think.
And they came out to be very similar, both the roundabout and the traffic signal. And that roundabout includes some right-of-way acquisition on those southwest and northwest corners.
Okay.
What's not figured in here, though, is the continual cost of electricity for the signal, correct?
Well, no, and maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm glad I was going to say that. You know, with roundabout, I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk to you about El Niño next. So it's not like pavement never has a cost, but when you have the signal, the mast arms are better than the cables, because when you have high wind, the cables signals flop around and they start breaking and everything else. So the mast arms are better, but there's still a continuous cost on maintenance of those signals. And you've got a controller that always has to be updated. And so, yeah, there's the O&M cost for a signal is much higher than a roundabout. You're right, that recurring cost.
And you said DOT will help with.
Well, we don't know, but we certainly going to ask.
Okay.
But, so let me do say this, Ms. Waller. We have prepared our engineering report, our entire evaluation, just like this was a DOT job, so that when we submit it to them, we're already following their procedures. Has anybody got any questions about that?
One more question is, in acquiring some more right of way on the northwest corner, is that gonna be cutting into that hillside?
So the reason, well, very good question. One of the reasons that we wanted to acquire some right of way there is you go out there, there's a hill, and then there's a drainage structure right at the bottom of it. So what we're trying to do is get a little more room and dress that up a little bit so that it does. Now, it may take a little bit of a retaining wall in there, but we think, you know, because right now it just drops right straight out of there. But yeah, it's about grading and getting it so that it's a little more accommodating.
So this is a roundabout concept at North Jefferson and Log Cabin. This doesn't have as much of that grading. It's a lot flatter in that area. There would be some grading on that southwestern side, kind of where it falls off down to the Dollar General. But we just got traffic counts back on that.
Yeah, so with the first traffic counts we got on this, we actually got them when school was not in. So we've ordered second traffic counts on it. We got those back today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
I don't know about y'all, but our internet was down yesterday, so I don't know whether it came yesterday or today.
I know the
But-
cameras were up last week because I saw them when I came through the.
Okay. So, yeah, so we just got the counts back on that. So we're not as far along in this one. Have you looked at the crashes yet on this?
Yeah, the crashes that I've pulled so far, there's only been 2 in the past, and they haven't had injuries in
Okay.
the past.
So, yeah, so this one is, we'll go through the same analysis we did on the other one. So that we can come back and report what this one will be later.
And we anticipate higher utility modifications at this one.
Move, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, we talked about maybe trying to come and give you an idea of cost on this one. Basically, we know that there's a lot more utilities out there. It is a 4-way rather than a 3-way. So, you know, the signal cost would be about 20% more, or 25% more. And utility cost on this, grading we don't think will be as much. I'm not sure about the drainage. So we think this one will be closer to about 25% more. So it's going to be about somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5 in that ballpark. And we haven't finished any of the evaluations of it yet.
Well, I think what you're gonna find is the warrant that's really gonna matter here is moving of traffic. I mean, because like you said, there's not been that many crashes. People that go through it know how to navigate that intersection. It's just a matter of people not having to stop and the traffic keep flowing, so.
Yeah, it would greatly improve the level of service
Yeah.
in that intersection. Any questions about anything?
Well, I think with the continued growth, whether it be in North Baldwin or even into South, but that, you know, these type solutions are gonna have to be looked at, and the sooner we look at them, the less costly that they're gonna be, because it doesn't do anything but go up, just like the price of steak. So,
Well, and I will tell you this, I almost am afraid to say this, but I'm going to go ahead. We just did a job in Greene County, and we kind of estimated the cost of the road, and it had a roundabout in it. It was a roundabout over an existing roadway. It's a 3-way, no, it's a 4-way intersection. And when we bid the job, we thought it was going to be about $1.7 to $2 million for the road and roundabout. The entire project came in at a little over, it was right at 1.7. And the roundabout, the best we could figure in that whole thing, based on the quantities and everything, was about $500,000. And, you know, if you talk to DOT about a roundabout, they'll tell you they're $2 million. So I'm not exactly sure where all that's going right now. But, and we bid a job in South Georgia that had a roundabout in it too, and so I looked at those numbers and it was well below $1 million too. So hopefully our numbers are high here. And I will tell you this, we did a signal and these numbers are right on that one because we did some of those down there and up here too. You know, signals have gotten pretty expensive just about as
Any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Paul.
I think he's gonna transition to LMIG now.
Oh, you're gonna do your milk next?
That's okay, we can talk about it.
And you all have, I included in our report to you all on Thursday, and you have at the back of the printed report that's in your book, the 22, 23, and 24 LMIG projects that he's going to be speaking from.
So, that's about 2 years ago, I think is when we started. We went through and rated every section of roadway in the city. If, for those who don't know, that's a little over 600 little sections of roadway. And what we do basically is we have a DOT rating form that we use, where we go through and it you know, asks questions like, is there alligator cracking? Which alligator cracking is when you see a roadway and the cracks are just little bitty segments like an alligator's back. So it asks that. And if you're rutting, you have to rate those things. So what we do is we go through and we rate the road for its condition with potholes, rutting, cracking, anything that we think is going to deteriorate the pavement even worse. And then we also go through, and while the DOT form has an area for oxidation, which means is it turning grayer than it was when they paved it, did it. But what we also try to do is we'll go through, and if we think that a road is doing okay, but there's certain there's certain signs that it's going to get worse in a hurry. You know, usually you can tell, like if it's rutting out and you're starting to see the pavement cracking as in the ruts, then you know it's going to get worse, because what happens is every time it rains, the water stands in there. And then during the winter, when it's cold, then that water is standing in the cracks, freezes, and then that crack gets bigger every time. So we try to pay special attention to that. And then what we do is when everything's said and done, we do we have a spreadsheet, and it goes in and assigns values for all the different problems and creates a dollar amount for that. So then we take that, put it in the spreadsheet, and then we take every road that comes up with a total value. The higher the value, the worse condition of the road. And it has a dollar amount assigned to it for the amount. And then basically all of those are summarized on the front sheet of the spreadsheet, so that we go and then we basically sort it by the rating number, so it gives us an order in which we do things. So what we did is we took the highest rated projects and put them on this list, and then we sent it out for bid, and got the bids back on that. Now, and you know, when we first started this, and I had a meeting with Tim, and I said, listen, I already tell you which is the worst road in your city. It's Barris Ferry Road, and the reason why is it's just failing big time. So we have gone in and on that road, we're going to do full depth reclamation. That means we're going to have a grinder in there. It's going to churn the old stuff in. We're going to mix cement with it, smooth it back out, and then repave it. So it'll basically be an asphalt road on top of a concrete road. Anytime we have.
If y'all remember, we did that with Ivy Weaver, the other side of that road from Jefferson to Dundee.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's, I think it's that one, but we went through every one of them, and what we did to fix them varied with what the condition was on the road. We've got some deep patching, we're milling up some places, we're overlaying all of them, obviously, and doing that. So we put that out for bid, and we got, we had actually three contractors were plan holders on the project. We only got one bid, and that was from Reeves Construction for the project. And you've got the list. Anybody got any questions about any specific roads that I can address?
And let me remind y'all, we are able to stack our LMIG for 3 years, and so that's what we've done. This will be 22, 23, and 24 LMIG, plus the supplemental LMIG that we got in 24. The match that is required for the 22, 23, and 24 LMIG, and then we'll need to add a little bit to that, but Shay and I are fairly certain that we've got, Paul, help me remember, between the 3 years and the supplemental, and then the match that we had, I think we had about maybe an additional 900 to $1 million, somewhere along there to make up.
Right, to do every road.
So we should be able to fund this this bid package here. And I did mention to Paul, I'm actually going to talk to you all about a meeting I had with GDOT last week, that I suggested at that meeting that county officials were attending as well, that when we start working on T-SPLOS resurfacing, we need to look at the potential for the city and the county to work together on that, because we can put those contracts together and get a better contractor. And Shinholzer's even suggested talking to the regional commission and see if maybe there's some regional contracts that we can put together to get an even better contractor price. Reeves did our last LMIG resurfacing. They do a wonderful job. They do a good job on the roads. They do a good job with traffic control. They do a good job with communication. They just do a good job all the way around. So I'm confident that they can do this bid package and do it well. But I wanted you all to have the opportunity to ask Paul about anything, any particular streets that you saw. If you look through this and wonder why a particular street was not on there, if you'll shoot me an email, I'll talk to Paul and find out what the rating is on that street and let you know.
I do have a street in my district that I would like for you to look at, and that's Klein Avenue.
It's on here.
I know, I saw it on there,
Yeah.
but how long, you said this is gonna go through what period of time?
Well, Reeves is ready to start as soon as we approve the contract, right?
Yes, yeah. And they've been anxious because, we're getting close to the end of paving season here before too much longer. So,
Yeah.
they'll come in and pave what they can, and usually January, February, and then they're back in March. So that was Pine?
Klein
Klein.
Avenue, Klein Avenue.
Klein.
Oh, yeah. So that was
City
going.
went in and did some stuff for the sewage lines and some water lines and stuff, and they cut through that road. There's about, I don't know, it's just in bad shape, and it needs,
Yeah, so we're going on that. We're going from Perry, I think is on one
Yes,
end,
yes.
all the way through and across both of the roads to
Yes.
the end of it.
I saw that.
So on Hillendale, you're just gonna do Hillendale back to the store. You're not gonna even touch Mills Trace or anything back there. You're just gonna be hitting Hillendale, going back up towards Robertson Mill Road.
Let me see.
'Cause that's what it's saying,
I gotta
Hillendale
think about
Drive,
that.
Robertson Mill Road to Stevens Drive. So you would be going back on the opposite side of Mills Trace, which is in bad shape as well.
Hillendale's on page 9.
Oh, yeah, it's Robertson Mill to Stevens. So Mayor, what you were talking about, what other road?
Mills Trace, once you get to the bottom of Hillendale, you're gonna make that left, you're going towards Stevens, but if you make that right, you're at that subdivision where Mills Trace roads are in bad shape as well. So I was just wondering, how are we going from these two areas, but we're skipping that particular area that is in bad shape?
What was that other road that you said?
Mills Trace.
Mills Trace. I'll look at that one, just
Thank
to
you.
see how it rated. Anything else?
That's it.
Looks like you did a good job.
Pardon me?
Looks like you did a good job.
We're working on it, and let me tell you, and I appreciate the time that you've allowed us to be here tonight and talk to you about this. We have a real passion for this kind of stuff, and I'm going to tell you the story. So Corey came out and he said, he prepared a slide, and he had the definition of level of service, and it was about as technical and engineering as I had ever read in my life. And I said, no, we got to take that one off. I can't even explain it. But thanks a lot for the time, and we appreciate it. And
I do, before you go, I have one question, because I see Charlton Street from Glen to Cobb, and so that doesn't include Cobb up there by the hospital, because it is horrible too. Am I right?
so, is your question, it does not include
Does
the
that-
paving of Cobb?
Uh-huh.
No, ma'am, it does not. And let me tell you, there's a lot of roads that aren't on here that need paving, no doubt. But
The reading.
when the line ended, it just ended.
Understand.
Cobb may be the next one. I'll look at that one
Look
too.
at that one too, because and I'm talking about the area right there in front of the hospital, and once you approach the hospital, it's not,
Yeah.
but it's just horrible.
Bad shape,
It
right?
is in bad shape.
But at least this list gives us a list to go by for T-Splosh and what we need to do after we get through with LMIG and get all this.
Yeah, and Paul-
Then we know
Paul's
how to
rated-
go from there.
Absolutely.
Paul's rated list, if y'all remember, the IGA that you all signed with the county, the county decided how they wanted to communicate roads. We decided how we wanted to communicate roads. And the way we decided to communicate roads was through a list on the website. Actually, Mr. Mullins had that idea when he was still on council. So that is the list that was shared prior to the LMIG vote and what is still on the website. Paul will update that once this contract is done, so that they'll start moving up and people will be able to tell where they are. So.
We need.
And what we do is he's right, basically all these roads now will go to the bottom. And then we'll go through and we'll take maybe the top 15 or 20 there, and we'll re-rate them again just to see if that has changed any. And so we'll take that top bracket and we'll go and we'll rate them down to like about twice what the budget is, just to see if anybody moved in the process. And we'll do that like every year or so.
I got one last question about the roundabout, and that's one thing that will be asked, and that is a timetable of what we could possibly be looking at if we decide to go that route.
So if you guys say, yeah, Paul, go ahead and let's get the roundabout. Now, I will tell you this. If we get some DOT funding, the process slows down because of their process. If we get a project, now if they just say, look, Simonton is pre-qualified to do this with DOT, which we are, then, we'll contribute this much and he doesn't have to go through our PPP process. It's a plan development process that takes forever. And if we acquire right away, oh my goodness, that takes another year or so, okay, in their program. So without those delays cranked in there, if you were to say, yeah, let's go ahead and do this, then I think we would be looking at getting under construction next spring to summer. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Simonton and Mr. Johnson. Well presented. We
Thank you all
appreciate
very
you
much.
all for coming tonight. All right, so at this time, we'll move to the city manager's report, and I will recognize Mr. Griffin at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Staying in the vein of roads, you all have in your packet tonight a list of DOT projects that we received invitation from Corbett Reynolds, the district engineer, probably about a month ago, to come out and meet with Tim Golden, who is the GDOT board member for this congressional district. We are a new part of his district, and he wanted to have the opportunity to meet the folks. Tim, you may recognize that name. He was in the General Assembly, both the House and the Senate, for a number of years, and has been around state politics for quite some time. And he said out there that day that the DOT board was the thing that he'd ever had the most fun with. And so, as part of that meeting, they shared with us the update that you have in front of you, and I just want to, please excuse my handwriting on that. I forgot I might need to make copies of it to give out to y'all, but they will help me remember a couple of things that I need to say about them, and I just want to highlight a couple of them. The first one is the DOT roundabout that's planned for State Route 22 and 24 across the river. You can see there what the project cost is, and that preliminary plans are complete, and they anticipate they're actually going to start right-of-way acquisition in November of this year. So they anticipate that the contract on that will be led in November of 2025. So that gives you some indication of what Paul was talking about. If they're going to start acquiring right-of-way in November and not going to let a contract until November of the next year, that gives you some idea about what that delay is. State Route 49 and State Route 29 from Holly Drive to north of Melody Way. That is the project that I had the concepts of up here for a couple of weeks or a couple of meetings for you all and the folks coming to the meetings to see. That's basically the area around the mall. You can see that they're about 70% complete on the environmental. and they anticipate that they probably will start right-of-way acquisition in March of 2025. I would like for us to have a conversation about the possibility of contacting the owners of the Big Lot Shopping Center. I think you all had some conversation about this with Mr. Jarrett prior to my becoming city manager, but to talk to those shopping center owners about the possibility of taking over their drive that goes from Dunlap over to Wright's Drive and making it a city street. And in the process of doing that, we'll have to spend some money to upgrade it a little bit, but I think the biggest piece for that will do for us is it becomes a city street that we can then control. And the very first thing I would recommend to you is to do a right in, right out only at that driveway in Dunlap to keep traffic moving there, along with what GDOT is looking at doing. State Route 49, just west of Felton Road, coming down to the bypass, widening it there. Y'all, this has been a project that has been on their list for years. You can see that the design is complete, but the district engineer actually said if they don't go to bid with it within the next 2 years, he's not going to have anybody that can work the software that designed it, and they're going to have to do the design all over again because it's been out there for so long. We actually have already had discussions with them about utility relocation and the potential assistance from them for that to happen. That one's just kind of laying out there, and you can see it's been moved to long range. The Gray Bypass in Jones County to State Route 26 in Milledgeville, that basically is a 4-lane on 22 from where you get on the bypass just before you get to Gray. You turn to the right and get on the bypass Gray, it'll go over Highway 18. That would be a 4-lane from there to Carbon here in Milledgeville. And you can see that they probably will phase that project. Total project cost at this point in time is $149 million. So that would be a big project. And then the one that's currently the one that's having the most notice in Milledgeville is the State Route 22 business, US 441 business at Fishing Creek. That's the Wayne Street Fishing Creek Bridge at the Piggly Wiggly. If you all remember, it's probably been close to a year ago now, you all approved a contract with GDOT for some utility relocation assistance there. That assistance ended up making the relocation of the water and sewer lines associated with that bridge rebuilding to cost the city about $700,000. But we have already paid that. That's basically what's going on now is utility relocation is what's going on now. You can see the contract was scheduled February 2025 to close the road. And Corbett said to me as soon as they know what that date will be and what the potential detour will be, he will let us know that so we can start putting that out.
What are they doing now?
So they're doing utility relocation.
Okay, that's what's happening now.
Yeah. And the bridge will be wider and it will be higher, so it's going to take up more right of way. But because the purpose of replacing the bridge is to meet the new 100-year floodplain. So I just wanted to share that update on those projects with you. I know if you're like me, you oftentimes get people stop you in the grocery store and say, what are they doing over there, so. Some of those will be GDOT projects that you can have the opportunity to share information with them. Also in your packet of information tonight was a letter that was sent out to all City of Milledgeville employees, as well as the flyer that was in the letter and the flyer that's been posted in the various departments around the city about the open enrollment information session that will be held on October 1st. This is in relation to the contract that you all authorized with GMA to provide both point-of-service plans and preferred provider organization plans as part of the insurance this year. So I just wanted to let you know that that was happening because there was some assurances. You all wanted some assurances that the employees would know what they were dealing with, and that's what this will be. And even after that October 1st deadline, Sandra obviously and Stacy will continue to meet with them individually in their offices if necessary in order to explain the difference in the two programs. You'll notice on the flyer, while you all have not authorized the contract yet, we have gotten information that the premiums for the Delta Dental program and the benefits of the Delta Dental program will not change for 2020. So we'll be bringing that contract to y'all most likely the first meeting in October. I sent you all a pretty comprehensive both National Weather Service and Hank Griffith weather report
I'm glad
today
you
on
did.
Tropical Storm Helene. You all know that I'll continue to do that as we have updates. The next National Weather Service special briefing is scheduled for 12:30 tomorrow. And I will certainly send you all an update at that point in time. But around 4 o'clock this afternoon, I think the governor did issue an executive order creating a state of emergency for the entire state for Tropical Storm Helene, so that, as you all know, things have to get in place for there to be potential monies available if there's damages, and for him to be able to call out the National Guard and to guard against price gouging and all those kinds of things that have the potential to happen in a natural disaster. So he has done that. I don't know whether the county will be issuing one for the county or not, but I know that has been recommended by the EMA director, and I suspect that probably will be the case. Obviously, if the county issues one, we will not have to issue one as the city. We will fall under that since we're a joint emergency management agency. Just a couple of reminders. The GMA District 6 fall meeting is on October 3rd in Byron. If you have interest in going to that, please let us know fairly quickly so we can get you registered for it. I'm going, I think Ms. Shinholster's going, the mayor's going, Ms. Mapp's going. So let us know if you have any interest in that. Ms. Shinholster mentioned in the text today about the annual meeting for the regional commission. Ms. Shinholster, you want to add anything to that?
Well, it's their annual meeting as well as their open house. I'm not sure if you all know that they, Macon Bibb moved them from the location there off of Emory Highway out to the new offices in the complex that they developed at the Macon Mall, at Macon Mall. And it is extremely nice. I can't tell you how nice it is. Of course, the Bibb County Court System and several other facilities for Bibb County are out there. So they're doing their open house in conjunction with a lot of the other areas that are very excited about elected officials coming and seeing their facilities and seeing what they have done. Macon has a nice presentation prepared to show you what all is being done. They're willing to talk about how they did the acquisition and came up with being able to acquire that facility without having to spend out any money, and that they're hoping that all of us who are repurposing areas and shopping malls and places within our city can do something very similar to what they did. So it's a teaching moment for them as well as a shining moment to show how they coordinated with Whole Story to allow Whole Story to keep a portion of the stores that are out there, but at the same time Macon Bibb is receiving revenue. And they have, of course, they have the nice amphitheater, and it's just so many things that are going on that they are excited about and want to share with everybody. So I just put that out there so that we can coordinate us traveling together or everybody traveling at a certain time. And we also have to register for that so that they will know how many people to prepare for. So
What's the date?
It's October 10th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a Thursday.
It is. I actually attended some of the district city manager, county managers meeting as commission a couple of weeks ago, and you're talking about a sense of melancholy when I walk in the hall for the first time in so many years, and it does look very nice. Alex Morrison, who is the planning director for Macon Bibb, who is incredible, he was laughing because the part of the mall that Hull Properties kept were ones that they had leases that they could keep. And the longest lease in the Macon Mall that is still in existence is Spencer's Gifts.
Oh, really?
And he said he anticipates they will be there to be the last door that closes because they have a perpetual lease that is based on 10% of their revenue. So they'll be there forever. So.
And Alex bragged about the fact that he came from downtown and repurposing and revitalizing their downtown to doing that at Macon Mall. So he feels like he has bragging rights now.
He does.
And he does.
Of course, they have a little bit of an advantage. Once they became a consolidated government, their entire county became an urban renewal district.
And then they also became an entitlement community,
Right.
which means that they don't have to apply for CDBG. They get money automatically. So they do have an advantage, but that's okay. It's a very interesting story. And he is ready and willing to come to your city and talk to you about different ways to do things too. So.
One of the other things that I learned at my city managers meeting, and I'm going to actually have them come over and do a presentation. There is work going on in the U.S. Congress that most likely will end up being that the Upmogi, what I grew up calling the Upmogi Indian Mounds, that property plus some additional property from Bond Swamp that's going to create about a 2,700 acre park. Most likely will be the very next national park in the United States. And it's really kind of unique because it's being co-managed by indigenous Creek Muskogees, whose heritage is there. And as one of the Creek Muskogee attorneys that did the presentation said, it's going to be co-managed by us and the white people.
But just another thing to add to that is those were the Creek Indians that transferred from Fort Wilkinson here to the area where they are located in Macon. So they are originally from Milledgeville and Baldwin County.
But it's going to create a major regional impact. So, one last thing in my report is I included in my report to y'all last week the committee appointments and authority appointments that we need to look at as the year draws to a close. So please take a look at what those are. There was one error that I put on there. We do not have a vacancy on HPC. That vacancy was actually filled by Ms. Willie Mae Wright, who was appointed on July 9th. So we'll make that notation. But please look at the others that are there. And I hope all of you had an opportunity to look at that National Fitness Campaign information. If you didn't, please take a look at that because I'm working real hard to try to get one of those for each of our city parks. So, thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And while you were in that vein, Mr. Griffin, I'm going to say I attended the Central State Redevelopment meeting, and Dr. Nelson and Mr. Pittman were wanting to be reappointed if we'd so considered them. So they would like to. Yep, quick news on that one. And Ms. Griffin and I was talking prior to the meeting in reference to, is that the Planning and Zoning Board with Mr. Hill, Donald Hill, about us, Donald B. Hill to be the chairman of the Planning and Zoning. So if we are with that tonight, we'll do that up on the appointments. If everybody's okay with it, we'll go ahead and move forward. And then that person that
We have a replacement.
she has a replacer already in place for him.
Donahue already.
Okay,
That was in place.
all right.
So tonight you want to approve Mr. Hill as chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then we'll come back to next week.
With the replacement. She'll submit the resume.
Take the agenda amendment on Mr. Jordan.
So we can't just do that under the, we still have to amend the agenda to add him to it tonight. Okay, that's
All
fine.
right, if we do that, does that take the vote out of his hands?
I thought that person,
Because they'll have a meeting at the first of the month, won't they? Or do they have anything coming before?
They do have something coming, October the 9th,
I
maybe?
think that's right.
Is that right?
so do we need to
Yeah, he
wait?
would not be, he's
Not
a
be
vote.
able to vote.
He's acting chairman now, and he can vote, but he would
Right.
not be able to vote if he wanted.
So
That's
we'll-
gonna-
Appointed chair,
That's gonna put us two people, because aren't we
right, two
one down
people
already?
short, and if somebody
Yeah,
doesn't
now
show
you
up,
want-
might not
Mr.
have a
Wright
quorum.
Okay.
More
Okay.
concerned about going ahead and doing that.
So
Maybe
we'll
than
wait.
Do the whole thing at one
Do
time.
that and the replacement appointee.
Well,
all
at the
that
same
first
time.
meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, so you done, Mr. Griffin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We do not have, I thought somebody said something. We don't have any old business or new business on our agenda for tonight, so we will move to approval of alcohol license applications. We have 2 alcohol applications to consider this evening, and I will ask the clerk to present the first one at this time. Madam Clerk, please present the application.
Okay. The first application is for Allies Marathon LLC, doing business as Marathon Food Mart, and this is located at 208 Robertson Mill Road. And this is for beer and wine retail package to go.
All right, you all have heard the first application. Is there a motion to adopt?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Is this a new, brand new,
No,
or
it's
this
just
a new manager?
change.
Being no further discussion, I'll ask clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp.
I will ask the clerk to present the second alcohol license application at this time.
The second application is for AM Cantina LLC, doing business as Cantina Letty, and this is for 2485 North Columbia Street, Suite 105. And this will be for beer, wine, liquor, Sunday sales, consumption on premises.
All right, you all have heard the application. Is there any discussion?
And this is in Big Lots Shopping Center where the pub used to be?
That's correct.
Okay.
If there being no further discussion, I'll ask the Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion.
I believe we need a motion, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something else.
Move we approve.
Second?
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp.
All right. We have one reappointment for the Historic Preservation Committee to consider, and I would like to nominate Mr. Melvin Bayman for reappointment to the committee. Is there a motion to confirm this nomination?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp.
All right. Neither the city manager or the attorney has advised me of any reason to go into closed session this evening. Do you get any?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. This concludes the items on the agenda. Does anyone have any additional comments?
Had a meeting with the Children's Youth Coordinating Council this afternoon. And one of the things that they have asked is that they're encouraging all cities to have some type of reading initiative. They know that we have the Mayor's Reading Program, and then we have Georgia Read Day in February, but they are encouraging all cities to have some type of reading initiative. On September 30th of this month, this is the day that they have set for those other cities who have not signed up for the mayor's reading program to get their applications in. So they were encouraging the other cities that are already involved, and they asked us to pass that on to our councils. If you can think of something that we can do for some type of reading initiative in conjunction with our local libraries on September 30th.
So, Mr. Griffith, you said our mailbox is in, right? So we're gonna be doing an initiative where we're gonna put the mailbox out, gonna put some books in it so that the kids can get them as their parents come in and out to pay the water bills, whatever. I do have some books that they sent down from, GMA that starts about government and what have you. So those books will go in there. I think our Tiffany's gonna bring that up to me this weekend.
Well, good. Get with me so I can write that up and have
Okay.
them to report out to the council. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I would like to say that, he was funeralized on yesterday. Councilman Lee out of Warner Robins, who many of us have taken classes with, Darian Lee, died at a young age, 54 years old, and he was funeralized on yesterday. I know many of us have taken classes with Darian, and he was the first elected black chairman councilman at large in Warner Robins. So we'll keep his family lifted up in prayer. Being no other questions, concerns, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Mapp?
Ms. Mapp, a motion to adjourn?
She said aye. Right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.